Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Puan Rauda, for the kind introductions. I'm Benny, as being introduced. I'm the Elsevier rep under Customer Success unit from Elsevier, which I'm covering all Elsevier solutions, including ScienceDirect, Scopus, and others. Yeah. So happy to see all of you here physically in UTHM, and this is not my first time here. I come here quite regularly to deliver different types of workshops, sometimes on where to publish, sometimes on e-learning by using ebooks. Yeah, and this time round, I think it is quite an important topic for everyone that involving in research, be it whether you are the researchers or whether you are the students, or you are doing your PhD, your masters, which ethics and integrity is the important elements that we must uphold to the highest standard, especially in Malaysia. And I've been in discussion with KPT, and KPT was the one told me that it is very important to have the good awareness on research integrity as well as good ethical conduct for all the university in Malaysia. And that was how I'm here today to share with you on the best practices on research integrity and also ethics in academic publishings. Yeah. So as what I mentioned, whether you are just a postgraduate student at the very beginning or towards the end, or whether you are starting your career as the researchers, or whether you are the seasoned researchers, yeah, you are no doubt very much aware of the importance of the ethical conduct. So ethical integrity is a big thing, right? So later on, I will go in depth to see what are the things that we should be aware of, and more importantly, towards the end of the session, I will be talking about AI, right? AI is something emerging trend now. Everyone is using it, including me. Yeah, but as the academician, as well as researchers, as well as postgraduate students, we must know the best practices of when to use it, how to use it, and when not to use it. Yeah. So plagiarism, research fraud, undisclosed competing interests, these are just a few of the issues that can threaten not only the integrity of the science, but also one standing in the scientific community. So if there is anything that what I mentioned here has been offended, that would be a worst case scenario that the publication might be retracted by the publisher, especially when it comes to plagiarism or research fraud, right? So I will go in depth later also to discuss each and every single elements in this part. And as the understanding of the ethical boundaries and rules is paramount to ensuring your work and career get off to the best start possible. I know everyone having this heavy KPI, to publish papers every year. You are the academicians, and for students, you are also having the KPI to graduate on time, to publish certain number of papers in order for you to pass your Viva. Yeah. But no matter how hard is the KPI, I believe we still must uphold the highest standard, highest level of research integrity, and also good ethical conduct in academic publishing, because if anything happens to your published papers, or in the worst case scenario end up with retraction, that might be a black dot or is a stain in your academic career. Bear in mind, the retracted paper will not be taken away from the database, and the retracted paper will put on a very big watermark, retracted. So that is like a stamp on your academic career that you have certain number of paper has been retracted based on certain reason, and the retraction reason most of the time will be listed and described on the retraction note of that particular paper. Yeah. So in order not to get into this kind of bad practices, so that's how I think we should do some sharing and also interaction here for these sessions. So unethical behavior by researchers degrades the scientific record and the reputation of science in the broader community. So I'm not saying anyone having the intention or possibility of doing so. But sometimes unintentionally, if you are not being careful enough on all the single things or minor things that has to be considered of, then you might be fall into the trap and unintentionally committed into this kind of misbehave, right? So, who will be responsible on this ethical issue or integrity issue? So basically, those who are ever listed here will be affected. Authors, no doubt, your name are on the papers, right? Yeah. It's like a stamp. You are responsible for it. So yes, we are happy that our paper got published. I'm the first author. I'm the corresponding author. Yeah. If that goes well, very good. It's an excellent achievement of your academic works. But if bad thing happen, retraction happen, your name also there, so you are fully responsible for it, especially the first author, the corresponding author. Yeah. And also, author usually come with affiliation. Institution, your university will also bear the bad names. So and so and so, prof and so and so and so from certain university, XXX university, papers got retracted. Total of how many retraction? So it will somehow impose a very bad names to the university, very bad reputation, especially in research publishing. People might not, or people might lose the trust for the outcome of the academic work or research work that come from that university. People might have doubt, will that be a genuine one, because of these significant numbers of retracted paper came from this particular university. Yeah. And publishers also play a role in it. Why? Because the papers sent for peer review. Yeah. So before the peer review, editor will do the technical check, the plagiarism check, and the basic check before they send for peer reviewer to do the peer review. Yeah. And journal editors, I mentioned before they send to peer reviewer, journal editor will do the basic check first. And peer review must be stringent enough. Sometimes you must be sick to, I will use the word sick, or maybe quite annoyed with the comment that you receive from the peer reviewer. But from the positive perspective, positive point of view, those comments potentially prevent you from committing into the integrity and also ethical misconduct. Yeah. So if we look at it positively, we repair our manuscript based on the comment provided. I believe that this is somehow beneficial for our published work, because they have the responsibility to defend the ethics in academic publishing to the highest standard. Yeah. So especially in publisher, we have a team in Elsevier called Research Integrity and Publishing Ethics. We call RIPE team. So what this team does, they are the internal police. They randomly, sometimes proactively, check on the published paper. Should they found any research fraud or any integrity issue associated with the published paper in Elsevier journal, they will then launch the investigation. They will then write to the author to request for clarification and justification based on certain issue. And if the clarification or justification is not satisfactory, then they will put up the verdict on that paper, retracted. Yeah. So we actually have such unit within Elsevier to do such jobs. Yeah. So the essential knowledge on the ethical conduct in research publications, those are the things that potentially can cause research misconduct or ethical issue or integrity issue. The first one, authorship. Everybody want to report, you know, for the first authors, for the corresponding authors. Yes, that carries the academic merits, yeah. But at the same time, you are bearing the academic responsibility as well. So I will also go in depth later to talk about this. And the second one, competing interests, like so and so, having this competing interest but not disclosing it well, and that might commit into such issue. And the third one, plagiarism. I think from the day one you are doing your degree, your lecturer been telling you when doing your assignment, when doing writing, don't copy and paste, don't plagiarize. So I believe plagiarism is a term that one should put in mind, not even during your postgraduate, but during your year one of undergraduates. Yeah, you should know the proper way of writing for not committing into plagiarism issue. Simultaneous submission. I know this is still happening very much. I'm going to talk to it about this issue also later. Yeah, double submission, triple submission at the same time. Research fraud, fake data, cooking data. Intentionally, you are doing some edits on the data to make sure it falls within your expectation. Yeah, this is also part of it. Salami slicing. Purposely slice your research output into thin slice and make sure you achieve maximum number of publication. But at the same time, potentially it also distorting the original meaning and the original output that it's supposed to be. And the last one, Gen AI. I believe it's also the interest for every one of us. Okay? Who have not been using Gen AI? I want to see the rest species if there's anyone not using Gen AI. Or using, right? For what? Checking student work.
Yeah, whether they are really using AI.
Oh, okay. What about students? What are you using Gen AI for?
Draft layout. Maybe.
Sorry?
Draft a layout. Lighting.
Draft the layout.
Yeah.
What else?
Generate idea.
Hmm? Generate idea. Okay. What else? Writing assignment? Should I have? I don't believe that no one is not using ChatGPT for not writing assignment. Nowadays, like assignment can be done within 1 hour.
Not only assignment, even thesis.
Is it? Right, we're going to talk about it later. So interesting, but we're going to discuss it towards the end of this session. Yeah. So authorship is generally considered to be an individual who has made a significant intellectual contribution to the society. So how we going to tell this person whether it is eligible or not to be the authors? Yeah. I've been in academic industry for long. I was a lecturer as well. I was a student as well. I was hiding in the lab for many years before I came into industry corporate. So I know those practices, right? Bad practices for asking for authorships, being the writers in the publications. Yeah, those are the things that we should not practice. I personally feel that we should not, right? Why? So in order to be credited as an author, so that person must have substantial contributions to the study conception, design, data acquisition, analysis, and interpretation. So it's not just that, I help you to glance through the paper, I want to claim one authorship. I don't think that is significant enough. Yeah. And the person must also be involving in drafting or revising the article for intellectual content. Yeah, is actively involved. They have the active involvement role in that. And the person must be joining to give approval of the final version. Yeah. Agreement to be accountable for all aspects of the work related to the accuracy and integrity of any part of the work. When that is integrity issue happen, be it whether you're first author, co-authors, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth authors or corresponding authors, all are equally responsible to answer the ethical misconduct or integrity issue arise from that paper. Yeah. Why? Because nowadays when you submit for publication, all the authors, be it whether you're first author or corresponding author or co-authors, would be duly informed by email that such and such publication has been submitted with your name. Kindly please write back if you did not approve this. Sometimes I know the students tend to submit the paper without the approval from the supervisors. And it used to happen a lot last time in Malaysia. Students submitted it without the approval, without the acknowledgement of supervisors, and that paper got into trouble, got into ethical issue, got into research fraud issue, and the supervisor to be blamed by the university, and the university to be blamed by the ministry. Yeah. So nowadays, to be defending the integrity of the academic publishing, all of the author will be duly informed. I'm not saying all publishers, but at least the major publishers should be doing it now. Like Springer Nature, Elsevier, Taylor and Francis, we are all doing the same. Okay? So 3 types of authorship are considered unacceptable. What is ghost author? Who contribute substantially but are not acknowledged. Yeah. Some papers are also very unethical. People have been actively involving, students have been actively involving, or your peers have been actively involving, but their name is not being listed there. It's quite pitiful, right? I believe that everyone, every involvement in the academic work should be duly credited. Yeah. Guest authors who make discernible contribution but are listed to help increase the chances of publication. Some people thought that, bah, I'm going to submit to high impact publication. Why not? I get some friends to know some big people in that field, or big professors in that field, to put in his name. So it's a win-win situation. He do not need to put in any significant contribution by getting an authorship. And when I put in his name, so when the peer reviewer saw his name, might eventually give me a more lenient way on the peer review. So I don't think this is a good practice. Yeah. And give authors whose contribution is based solely on a tenuous affiliation with a study. And when talking about authorship, because currently I'm still actively involving in peer review. Almost every week I'm receiving invitation, but based on my timing, based on my availability, then I randomly will accept those invitations to read and to peer review the paper. So what I wanted to share a case that what happened last 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. I received a paper from a Q1 journal, asked me to review a cancer related, because I'm in cancer research. Yeah. So out of due diligence check, I actually screened through all the authors' name in Scopus, which I couldn't find a single author that has published any single paper in Scopus Impact Journal. So that is my first question mark. Second one, when I checked through the author's background, all of them are medical doctors, but managed to come out of nowhere without track of publication to do a cancer genetic work. So I requested the editor to write to them to provide me the list of papers or the list of publication of those group of authors. And in the end, the paper that they provided to me are not in tech journals, and all those papers are mixed. Clinical paper are not related to cancer. Some orthopedics bone paper are not related to cancer genetics. So I have to be very careful in doing such a peer review job, but to write my comment to the chief editor saying that I'm not recommending this paper to be accepted, although the data are all good, writing are all good. I even asked for the raw file of the data set and all the images. But I still cannot convince myself to further review on this paper because why? Anyone can tell me. Why are based on all those findings is still not convincing for me to review further?
Fictional suggestion.
Sorry?
Fictional suggestion.
Statistic?
Fictional suggestion.
Yes. And I have a very good, solid, suspicious reason that this paper might not come from them. It's come from paper mill. Too good to be true that paper came from those clinicians that have never done any basic clinical or what we so-called a basic lab research work. So I hope whoever here serving as a peer reviewer, as a lecturer, to be more extra careful when handling such issue. So we are not just reviewing the content, we must also uphold the highest standards on the research integrity issue and also ethical misconduct from happening, right? So transparency and objectivity are essential in this scientific research and the peer review process. So when an investigator, author, editor, reviewer has a financial personal interest or belief that could affect his or her objectivity or inappropriately influence his or her action, or potential competing interests exist, such relationships are also known as dual commitment, competing interest, or competing loyalty. So let's say if you are indirectly or directly involved in that research, you should recuse yourself from serving as a peer reviewer or part of the peer reviewing process of that papers. Otherwise, this might involve yourself into the conflict of interest, right? And the most obvious competing of interest are financial relationships, such as direct or indirect one. So the direct one, employment, stock ownership, grants, patents. Let's say I'm the patent owner of this particular research. Although my name is not listed in the publication, but I was invited to review. That should not happen. You should not accept the invitation to peer review that paper, right? Indirect honorarium, consultancy to sponsoring organization, mutual fund ownership, pay expert testimonial, like if this and this prof has been paid by this research group or this particular authors group to do certain share finding talks or receiving such honorarium from this particular group, should not also serve as the peer reviewer for the papers that came from that particular group. It's the conflict of interest. So this can also exist as a result of personal relationship, academic competition, and intellectual passion. So example might be a researcher who have a relative who work at a company whose product the researcher is evaluating. Yeah. Once you're evaluating the product, you might have some certain data to publish it. So how fair are you that you don't have any biasness or favoritism? Yeah. A self-serving stake in the research result, like potential promotion, career advancement based on the outcome. Personal belief that are indirect conflict with the topic he or she is researching, not just on publication, sometimes on the grant review. Yeah. If there is a conflict of interest, one should not be serving as a reviewer on the grant application as well. Okay. Came to the big thing of plagiarism. One of the most common types of publication misconduct is plagiarism, where they are using someone's work, yeah, without permission, without giving due credit, or without the acknowledgement. This is very important issue, and at the same time is also the issue that sometimes unintentionally committed by some of us, right? So we must also put this always into our mind, how to avoid this. So plagiarism will take different form, from literal copying to paraphrasing, and also paraphrasing someone else's work that can include data, word and phrases, idea, concept. Okay? So long you are using it without giving due credit, you are not citing the sources, then you are considered plagiarism. So plagiarism is not just covering literal copying, cut and paste. Of course, that is very obvious, right? So there are other things that we should disclose and discuss in the subsequent slide. So when it comes to the paraphrasing, means you are trying to rephrase certain words, certain paragraph from someone else's work to be into your own writing. Yeah. So reproducing someone else's idea while not copying the words for word without permission and acknowledgement of the original source is an unethical move. Yeah. It is only acceptable if you properly reference the source and make sure that you don't change or you don't distort the original meaning that came from that particular original source or original paper. If you, using their idea, you paraphrase it, first of all, you don't cite them, you don't give due credit, and you already distorted the meaning, this is already unethical, right? So make sure you understand what original author is trying to say, and never copy and paste words that you do not fully understand. Nowadays, students like to copy ChatGPT. I will say you can use ChatGPT, but try to read and understand at least, but not doing the literal copying. Yeah, sometimes I've also seen, because sometimes my friends will refer to me, some academicians in the public university. You see this basically literal copying from ChatGPT is like so machine punya language, and I'm trying to ask the student to explain to me, the student is stunned and can't explain to me what are they writing. So obviously, the student is doing the literal copying without even digesting the content, right? And I believe the fellow academician here also having the same, or probably faced the same before, yeah? Text recycling, reproducing portion of an author's own work in a paper and resubmitting it for publication as an entirely new paper. So you put anything in quotes that taken directly from the previous published paper, even though if you are reusing it in your own work. So if you want to, like certain words, you want to retain it, you don't want to change it, can put a quotation mark, then you cite it. Yeah, in certain circumstances, you try not to change the word in order not to distort the meaning. But at the same time, you want to avoid the literal copying, and you put that particular terms or particular words or particular sentence into the quotation mark, just to tell people that you are trying to cite their source, and at the same time, you are not trying to distort the meaning for not rephrasing the words. Yeah, that is allowable, but not entire paragraphs, not entire pages. Okay. So make sure you put the correct reference to the source accordingly. Yeah. So literal copying is the one that commonly happening now, especially with the emerging trend of having ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Gemini. Wow, literal copying becomes so much easier compared to last time. Last time it's copied from papers. Now they don't even want to read papers. They not just don't even read papers, because we observe usage drop in many universities. Why? Because last time round they need to download 10-20 papers, read, then provide answer into your assignment, right? And now they just get all the answer from ChatGPT, and they just randomly find some paper to throw inside as references. Even with Scopus AI, you can get answer with references, but I would still advise people to double check, to download the full text. In Scopus AI, they give you the references from the answer, right? They tell you where this answer coming from. But at least you click the references and try to read the full text, right? Try to digest it, try to verify, are those answers correct ones? But that also, the student not doing it nowadays, yeah? So, often end up with literal copying. Yeah, we sometimes quite annoyed to see that. So, literal copying is not acceptable, but it is acceptable only if you refer to the source and put quotation mark around the copied text. Copied text, not entire paragraph, not entire pages, right? So keep track of sources you use for researching, and where you use it in your paper, make sure you fully acknowledge and properly cite the original source in your paper, and you use quotation when you are copying certain text or certain words. Substantial copying, this can include research material, processes, table, and equipment. So substantial, this word can be defined as both quantity and quality of what was copied. If your work captured the essence of other work, it should be cited. Sometimes you need to tell people this particular work has been summarized into this table, and you are trying to tell this table on what or the original author trying to say is fine, but at least under the table you put the source, cite where it is coming from. Okay? Ask yourself if your work has been benefited from the skill and judgment of the original authors. You copying up someone's work without giving due credit. But do you also want people copy your work without giving due credit, and at the same time, the citation, the H index has not been recorded? Yeah, you didn't want to do that. But at the same time, we must be fair to others as well. When you are using their intellectual property, then give due credit by citing them. These are the things. Yesterday, I was in UTHM. One student showed me, foreign student, showing their proud achievement of submitting their paper to 3 different journals at the same time. Yeah. And recently in Elsevier, RIPE team has already established a tool across all major publishers can detect simultaneous submission. They wanted to do fast. They wanted to do betting. So they throw the paper to the 3 publishers and see whoever get back to them the fastest one, they will pick that, and once the peer review concluded, they will retract from another 2 and stop the submission. This is also very, very unethical. Yeah. Nowadays, with the advancement of the AI technology, it's not difficult for all major publishers to catch. Yeah. For small local publishers, I'm not sure whether they have such investment on the tool. But for major publishers like us, we have all sort of tools to catch all the misbehavior and also the ethical misconduct issue. So, duplicate or multiple publication occurs when 2 or more papers without full cross-references share essentially the same hypothesis, data, discussions, or conclusions. So this can occur in varying degrees: literal duplication, partial but substantial duplication, or even duplication by paraphrasing. Some they're very smart. The content are the same, but the title they twist a bit. Right? Sometimes even smarter, they have totally different abstract, but the content are the same. We have seen this in our editorial department. Being a supervisor, I really hope the supervisor can really be strict on the student for not committing into such misconduct, because otherwise, whatever the misbehavior by the student will be bear mainly by the supervisor. Yeah. And yesterday, I asked the student, did the supervisor knows your simultaneous submission? She stunned and she cannot answer. So I believe the supervisor is not aware of such behavior. Yeah. So I'm also not sure whether the paper that's submitted by her putting or including the name of supervisor or not. But at the same time, University Technology Malaysia punya affiliation is there. So I pray hard that things is a genuine paper, genuine data, or else if retraction happen, UTM will be blamed again. Yeah.
So how to overcome that kind of methods, because it's keep on happening?
Sorry?
How to overcome that kind of because it's keep on happening?
Yep.
Even it's happened under your nose, but you are not qualified for it.
When they are not putting your name as supervisor, as corresponding authors, it's very hard for the supervisor to catch. Yeah, but at least from the beginning when they join as the research members, I hope the supervisor will keep on emphasizing no submission without me. All submission must come under my final approval, right? No simultaneous submission, no duplicate submission, no multiple submissions. Yeah. So awareness must be taken in place. And second thing, the stringent check from the supervisors. Most of the time, I saw this from foreign students. Yeah. During my time, my supervisors already first semester sent me to the research method class to learn all the proper way of doing research and publishing. Yeah. And not just that, from day to day, be nagging by the supervisor, you should not do this, you should not do this, you should not do this, you should not do this. Yeah. So I believe that awareness and education are still quite important and significant from the day one that they join your research group. Okay? This is the very serious misconduct, research fraud. I know every one of us hoping to have positive results. every one of us hoping to have positive result at the same time the error bar is small. Yeah, but when you intentionally to reduce the error bar, when you intentionally to edit the statistic finding, when you intentionally to change the data so that your data become significant from non-significance, or sometimes you're trying to show how great is your result, to add on from 1 asterisk to 2 asterisk to 3 asterisk to make sure you convince people with the highest level of significance p-value. That is not acceptable at all, and that should be condemned. And that kind of move should be reprimanded. Right? So, research fraud is the publishing data and conclusion that were not generated by experiment or observation, but by invention or data manipulation. Yeah. So there are two kinds of in research and scientific finding: fabrication of data and falsification. Fabrication is you are cooking it, you're making the data. That thing is not existing, but you are making it to happen and exist, right? Some people without going to lab, they have all sorts of data point, data set. So I would recommend the supervisor to regularly check on the logs, check on the data set, how those students came across with those experimentation before they get to present to you on those data set. Yeah. But what about they have to present you the data, isn't it?
Not quite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If they have something to do with the fabrication,
Uh-huh.
so they refuse to come and show me the data.
So, Doctor, how you managed to catch them then?
Suddenly they just started the thesis.
Uh-huh.
And then the examiner will tell me that, hey, check this because the examiner will notice there's something awkward, right? And then I will call them back.
So, how you trying to check whether are they really cooking up the data?
I don't know, maybe just from experience.
So, what would you do to them?
Normally I won't give a good marks on, maybe not allow them to go for pre-Bible or something. So we straight away tell the examiner that we uphold these results. Because just once the pass, definitely the others will do good.
Yeah, that set a very bad track record
Yes.
for the subsequent submission of the
But
thesis.
it's happening.
It is happening. It's very bad.
Yeah.
Even happening on local student as well. Recently, I heard what my friend shared to me. PhD thesis, experimental group and control group, both having the same result. And the supervisors, I don't know, is not aware of this or what, but the submission can go through. So I believe the supervisor did not do a proper job in checking it before the submission, right? And ended up, I think the evaluator of the thesis was quite kind enough to break as resubmission for not failing. But if come to me, I will fail them. Yeah, because when your result is not a result, how you expect someone to graduate with PhD? Where is the standard of PhD? And if you easily submit that kind of result or that kind of thesis or that kind of writings, yeah, that is not acceptable for, and that brings down the PhD quality or postgraduate degree quality of that particular affiliation university.
I think when we're talking about equality, it's very, very subjective because some people is very
Lenient.
Yeah. So sometimes because we had experience before when we found a research thesis for PhD is similar to Aras University project
Oh,
during the Bible.
oops.
And coincidentally, the examiner used to be the examiner for that particular project. So the Bible just stopped.
So everything have to stop lah.
But it's depend on who is the person inside that room. If everybody have the same integrity and ethics principle and concept, definitely that can be stopped. But let's say lah someone is very lenient, apalah, we just proceed first and see how.
Sometimes they say kesian the student.
Yeah, the student already spent for 5 years and then so on and so on. So that's
But if the supervisor really strict on the student from day one,
yeah.
this should not happen.
Malaysia, we still have the right from the supervisor to allow whether the thesis is suitable for Viva or not, right?
Yes.
But for example, in my case in Northern Ireland, supervisor have no right to say yes or no. But it's depend on your own integrity whether you want to ask your supervisor whether okay, I'm ready for the Viva or not. But in Malaysia, we still have that level. You have to get the supervisor.
Yes, to approve
Yeah.
Before your thesis submission to get into Viva.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still some of them tak tahulah macam mana boleh lepaskan.
I have also heard they scared to fail the student because they have to answer to graduate office.
Yeah.
Why are you failing the student? All sort of reporting to do, all sort of interrogation, all sort of interviews. Not easy to fail a student, but we have to uphold the highest standard of integrity when it comes to academic and research.
For me, as a staff for UTHM, I not really like to hear that you go to do your PhD in UTHM and you can get an easy PhD. So something that I
Easy PhD is something to do with.
That's a challenge. I think that is a current challenge for the academic world now because of AI, because the research is now very booming and then everybody can get the data easily. For instance, I have a bunch of data which is not published yet. Why don't you just take the data and then do your thesis? So end up the student not really do the experiment. So dia mesti tak boleh jawab ni lah during the Viva. But now, because of the AI and things, during the Viva session, especially the hybrid one, when you ask the questions, they use the tools to capture whatever I ask, and then the AI will answer my questions. So this is the current challenge we experience as a academician.
I think I should do my second and third PhD.
Definitely you can.
But too bad, my field had to get into the lab.
Yeah.
So that is not something that I can do from home.
Okay.
But with AI, I can speed up my writing, yes.
Yes.
I can speed up my writing and can speed up my analysis for sure. But that is nothing that can replace me yet at the moment from generating the data from the lab work.
Yeah. Because I was thinking that it's easy to use the native language rather than English. Because when we do a whiteboard sessions and then the foreigners, for example, they don't want to have the face-to-face whiteboard, they want to do the hybrid with all so many reasons. And when you ask the questions in English and you try to speak quickly using the English very what do you think? What is this? They cannot capture the words, and then they cannot type in AI, so they don't know how to answer.
Yeah.
But once, can you repeat again? I don't understand your question. So we start to talk slowly. For example, can you explain? And then suddenly your voice captured by the AI, and then the AI will answer the questions. That's why we now hopefully not allow any more hybrid Viva.
I myself not a virtual person.
Yeah.
But ever since after COVID, things changed.
Yeah, that's the thing, because we have to cope with the digitalization, right? We
Yes.
have to support and cherish the technology, but this is the issue. Integrity and ethics, something that is difficult to keep and identify.
Because I'm agreeing with you, I'm still the person believing in physical,
Yes.
right? I'm believing in the interaction,
Yeah.
and I'm believing in Viva is not to make any difficulty to the student, but instead is the examination to prove, to let the student to have an opportunity to prove themselves how well they are in that particular research. They should be the one that more well versed on that research compared to their own supervisors. Yeah, if they themselves cannot answer the question posted by any examiner, what is that degree for?
AI.
Yeah, so I know AI is inevitable, but that's why I still keep on saying we must always have a standard. So even though I'm bringing one publishing ethics expert, the internal police of Elsevier, to KPT in July, to do some strategic discussions to see how we can assist Malaysia to come up with a better standard on the application of AI in academic publishing and research.
Sometimes the setting of the KPI also contribute or need to these matters. For example, if you have to publish at least scopers, 2 scopers, 5 scopers, for example, to graduate, for example, and then it will put a pressure to the student and then do all those things.
The negative looks.
That might be the negative impact from that high setup of the KPI, as well as to the lecturer. Then we also have the KPI, right? We have to publish how many papers if you are Professor Nadia or you Professor something. So that kind of pressure will lead to this matter.
That must be come to a balance point, I think.
Yes.
You can also totally no publication, also indicating someone is not productive. But to make it a publication machine, also something that we need to consider of. But nowadays, during my discussion with KPT, because we are discussing about the upcoming Scopus Research Award, I'm part of it. We are actually discussing not fully 100% looking at just publication merits. We are also looking at what is next, what are the impacts, how are all those publications from citation you transform into helping people in the society, or helping to build the nation, or help to improve certain things, or certain challenges posed by the nation. Yeah. So now we are discussing to have 50% and 50%. 50% of publication metrics for citation, whatever, citation index, but another 50% we wanted to see are those publications managed to address the challenges.
I think if you ask me a question, so how many, let's say my index now is, I don't know, 11, 13 something. Then someone asks me, what next? So you have this high index, then what next? So even myself also cannot straight away answer that things, because either your KPI or the contribution to the nation, which one? So if myself as a lecturer, as a supervisor, I want my student graduated under me will contribute significantly to the nations. Not only know how to write a paper,
of course,
have the good index, but also this one have the ethics, know what the students very scared about the failure. For example, they do the experiment, tak jadi, and then they have no data. So definitely you cannot publish. So I understand that. Even myself,
I went through.
Yeah, even myself, I got rejection maybe 12 times, 13 times.
Yes,
sometimes
same.
From the Q1 to Q2, Q3, Q4, and suddenly my site, and suddenly no citation, no index at all, no non-index papers, can just at least get published. But it seems that sometimes the organization have to look at and acknowledge, because of how many times you try and then you keep on improving the papers rather than shortcut. So this is the things happen. I think the pressure from
The surrounding pressure.
And then some more, most research, even myself want to publish if you want to also the demands from the reviewer, for example, for more data, and then more data, more money.
Yes.
More data, more money, and then
Grant sudah habis.
grant sudah habis, and then the student also
FRGS getting lesser and lesser. Last time we used to get 180,000, 200 plus. Sekarang dah dapat 150 pun considered quite a lot.
Betul. And then the student pun dah desperately need to graduate. Kan we cannot hold students more than 5-6 years, so it's not fair to the student as well. Just because you want to keep the Q1 paper, so this is the things that we need to lakukan.
That's why we are trying to find a balance. We are actively working with KPT to find a balance in between, and to see what is next. Because I believe ministry is also under the scrutiny by the member of parliaments in the parliamentary session for spending a lot of money in research grant. But what are they getting in the end? What the country getting in the end? Simply just the ranking, high ranking in the ranking body, or what is next? Are those social scientists manage to let others agency or other university or let others government agency to follow their approach to see if that can help to address certain challenges. So those are the things we are actually talking now. Perhaps we can find some balances in between.
For example, you said that the students bravely and proudly say that she managed to submit 3 journals simultaneously. To me, is something wrong somewhere. You are proudly announce you did something unethically.
Maybe those are the ethical issue that has not been aware or educated in his or her country. But in Malaysia, even though we wanted to commit that, we cannot proudly say it out. We do it secretly behind the scene. Like what you said, your student did it, right? Don't dare to come to see you. But I believe that nowadays the student also changed. During my time, we very scared of the supervisor.
Yeah, betul.
And every 2 weeks or every 1 week, we must report the result to our supervisors. Then if the experiment fail, we must siap-siap to prepare how to justify to the supervisor takut kena marah. We need to siap-siap prepare the solution to propose how to address, the failure of the experiment.
That's the point why some have many students, some doesn't have many students. It depends on how you treat your students. Kadang-kadang we become strict on certain things. And because myself, I'm not in the lab. There's a students in the lab, so I don't know how they do the experiment. So definitely from the data itself, kita tahu whether they really do the experiment or not. Right? So in terms of paper, I know the student also cakap to the doctor, we got rejection because of detection of the plagiarism, detection of the AI. Of course it happens because the data sekarang dah very established, right? So once you enter something that ChatGPT, dia dah boleh found out kan. So that's the challenge lah to be on the current way how to write a paper compared to us I think 10 years ago when we write papers, so we download the papers and read, and then there's no AI, so it's quite difficult to get plagiarism detection.
Yes.
That time.
Yes.
But now it's just like that. Even you are thinking yourself tak tidur buat the paper, and then suddenly oh my god, you trap juga dekat plagiarism because of data that established. So how to, I think that's why I come here today. Because I want to know sekarang punya challenge of the AI ni, how kita nak, I'm not saying bypass, but not easily get caught, not because we are using that, but because of the establishment of the data. So how to overcome that thing? So kita tak nak dah jadi plagiarism or unethical.
Of course.
Okay,
Of course.
So on the Elsevier part, you have
That's why KPT wanted very much to meet our publishing ethics expert in the coming July to discuss the way forward in the AI world. Yeah, because or otherwise Malaysia will continue to involve in those unintentional misconduct. Yes.
Because it's quite easy. Once even you tak buka AI pun, you write by yourself using your own words because the data is established now. So once you enter in any software for plagiarism or AI detection, definitely sangkut.
That's why later on I'm going to discuss more on the AI. I'm going to touch on it as well. Yeah. Manipulation of images. I've seen it with my own eyes. Especially in life sciences, very easy to do such work, right? And who are in life sciences to use microscope slide. The slide is this big. The lens is this small. You move around, you can get 10 pictures from the same slide, right? If really intentionally wanted to do bad things, very easy. But we should not do so. And with the advancement of AI, it's not difficult for us to tell whether that pictures, even though you use it in a different paper, is actually coming from the same slide. Because of the cell shapes, the contrast, the color, we have the tool to check now compared to last time. Yeah, because I know paper mill how they function. The kilang that producing paper to sell to those who eagerly wanted to graduate. Yeah, I'm not knowing about other field, but in my field, they are running one time their experiment. They can come with 10 papers with the data. Oh, that one is very easy. So for life sciences, we know the shortcut way. See whether if really we wanted to commit into the misconduct or not. But it's about our heart. We are answerable to the integrity of our own professionalism. Yeah. So I'm not saying that you cannot use any software to do on your image. Sometimes the gel or the pictures that you've taken, sometimes there is some noises, we call it background noises, a bit dirty, and that dirtiness actually not affecting your results. But for the aesthetic purpose, you hope to have a better clarity, you can do so. Yeah.
Sometimes the reviewer also can use any software to remove the noise of the image. Some reviewer will suggest you in a recommendation.
Or some, if I see the picture too clean, I can also just, for the sake of validation, I ask for the raw image.
Yes. That's quite common in our field.
Yep. Sometimes, when you're running the job, the pen got some black dot here and there, we are trying to remove that. But what I'm saying, the manipulation of images, that when you are running a gel, when the band is not there, don't intentionally to crop a band to put there. Yeah? Because when the band is not there, indicating that it's not a good result. Yeah? Then, duit tak ada. To run experiment expensive. So, student takut. Kena marah by supervisor. Beli lagi. Duit tak ada. Then, what do? They crop.
Yeah, crop.
Yeah. Nowadays, this also very easily detectable by AI tool. We have been heavily investing on that tool, also to uphold the highest standard of research integrity issue in publication, so that all those suspected punya papers will not be published under Elsevier papers, under Elsevier journals. Yeah. Adjustment of brightness, contrast, or color balances usually acceptable. Of course, usually the peer reviewer will ask for the original images to compare to see if you're really doing it just to adjust the contrast and the brightness or the color. Okay? So, authors might be asked to provide the raw data in connection with the paper for editorial review. Nowadays, when I'm doing the peer review, I will ask for raw data. Yeah? Because especially when the graph, it's too good to be true, so nice the trend, then that is something very suspicious. And somehow those dependent is like just a ladder going up like that. Yeah? So, this is a very common practice for me myself. Study undertaken in human beings like clinical trial has specific guidelines about the duration of the data retention. So those data that you collected must be kept within certain period windows of the years in case someone query about the accuracy of the data, then you can show. So why some of the paper retraction happen? People have query on that data set, on the published paper. Then the journal editor of the chief editor wrote into the author for clarification. But the author said that I have lost the data, I misplaced the data, I did not keep the data. So there is no proof to show that your data are good one, but in the end, retract.
Is there any certain duration for that practice from your experience?
7 years.
7 years.
But I usually don't remove, I takut.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you will never know, in retraction watch, in pub peer, there are people sometimes, they are too free to go and check every single paper. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a mistake. Sometimes it's just a mistake if you manage to do correction or they will issue the erratum. Yeah. Then your paper will be safe from the retraction. Or otherwise, usually they will impose retraction on that paper. Yeah. This is why KPT be talking to the strategic partners like Elsevier to see how we can advise KPT to set such a good standard to reduce the rate of retraction. Not just Malaysia, US also have particular professors, very famous one, have 20-30 papers being retracted at one time. Yeah. Salami slicing, this is also very common. I've seen it within in my lab also last time. And people have been also proudly say that, oh, this year I received 3 travel awards for conference. I sliced my result into 3 parts, but padahal that 3 parts are all from the same sausage. Yeah, it's not something proud, but people proud of it. So what is that to do? Being so proud that you are only producing one result, but you repeatedly distort the result, you edit the result, and you chop it off into 3 parts, and then go to the travel award. And when you're submitting for conference proceeding, they don't have stringent check, right? Like full publication. But this should not happen. Yeah. And some people have one big result, but because of the KPI, right? They have to chop the result into 3 parts in order to get the papers.
KPI make people become master.
I'm not saying cannot chop, because sometimes when we submitted too many results at one time, the journal editor will ask us to remove some. Otherwise, it is too congested. Yeah, but at least whatever you publish in that paper must show the full original picture of that research study for not being distorted part by part by part. Yeah. So came to the very important point, Elsevier point of view on AI, especially on writing and publishing research. So our point of view, AI can be used. Yeah. I myself use it every day. Even now, Scopus AI can be used freely by all universities. I hope you all know that.
I also use ChatGPT to ask when is the best place to eat.
Oh yeah, I use ChatGPT to draft my itinerary when I go to Japan. Yeah, that makes people lazy.
Yeah. Sometimes chat with them. I'm so bored. Can you talk to me?
Yeah, it's a very good tool. But at the same time now, I found Scopus AI also a very good tool for me, because I'm still doing research. I still partner with my friends in my university to do grant application. Yeah, I use Scopus AI a lot. I hope you all know Scopus AI is now freely available by all of us under public university. APT subscribe on behalf for all 20 universities on Scopus AI. So what I did on Scopus AI, Scopus AI is a good tool for you to check the novelty on the research topic that you are about to propose. Right? You know, Scopus index broad journals across all other publishers in the world. So if you wanted to check your idea has been published elsewhere or not, you can simply just ask the question to see if you get answer on that. If no answer means there is no direct publication linked to that answer, means your idea is somehow still novel. Right?
Still novel or useless?
Sorry?
Still novel or useless?
Yes. So Scopus AI is a tool that can sprint through a very broad level of publication based on abstract. Based on abstract only, because they don't have a full paper in Scopus. Yeah. So for those who have not used it, use it. Very nice to use. Up to last time, I'm still using it. Yeah. However, it's critical to proceed with caution and strictly adhere to the policy as below. Why is it be cautious? Especially ChatGPT. If you are using ChatGPT to ask scientific questions, how accurate are they? Right? It is just the advancement of Wikipedia, I would say. Right? But student doesn't know that. Right? Student read, well, nicely written in nice language, in nice English, I will just literal copy it and paste it to the assignment.
They laugh at us. They said that, we already found the answer from your assignment. Unfortunately, I know you are using AI straight away.
They thought we are stupid, but we are smarter than them. Because ChatGPT search the answer on the open source. So whether the open source came from newspaper, from your memoir, from your assignment, anything that's searchable within online, whether index publication or non-index publication, a newsletter, they search and give you answer. So inaccuracy will be there. Second thing, inaccurate data. Yeah, because open source are the source that have not been peer reviewed before. So who will confirm that data are authentic? Loss of human expertise, ethical concerns, limited understanding of context by AI tool, security and privacy. I'm going to touch on security and privacy later. Yeah, and also lack of creativity and originality. So for now, AI is still rather new thing, so Elsevier will monitor this development and will adjust and refine AI-related policy when it is appropriate. And our focus is on writing process and not the use of AI tool to analyze or draw insight from data as part of the research process. So the main thing I want to deliver here, you can use AI, yes, but only for improving on the readability and language of the works. Yeah. With that also, I have to tell you a trick. You do the literal copying of the entire thesis and put in ChatGPT and read. How? How you do it? If you say no, what is your bad practice? Bear in mind, your result is not published yet. Are you trying to feed them? Yes.
Very, very dangerous.
You have to mask away the important things that you are telling the ChatGPT to improve your clarity and language. Because whatever you input, person within same microbiology and ask the same question, they will feed that your answer to them. And if your data is unpublished, and people found this data very impressive, people go ahead and mention it, and eventually your thing becomes not normal. Yep. But students not aware of this. Students want to get works done. Students want to get things done. But we must always spread the awareness to the student. Yeah. Because it will be having their consequences for their work not be able to publish because of the leakage of the data. Yeah.
That's very confidential, right?
This was also agreed by our publishing ethics expert.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think the students know about this.
We don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I think today's my sharing would be rather important, especially for the academician here. If you can spread this to your student, you can use it. I'm not telling you cannot use it to improve your clarity, your language, your readability, but you have to mask away your sensitive data part so that you don't feed the sensitive data and you don't leak the sensitive data to the LLM. ChatGPT is the LLM, right? So when you feed them, then you use your whatever feeding to feed others. So authors cannot use AI for what? You cannot use AI to produce scientific work, pedagogic, or medical insight. Nowadays in medical, they also have AI tool. Yeah, they have AI tool to read the CT scan slide, to read the X-ray slide. But again, doctor using it as a reference. In the end, the radiologist will still read again by their own eye, based on the references, based on the comment provided by AI tool, right? So whatever comment from AI tool will not be the conclusion or the diagnosis confirmation, right? You cannot use AI to draw scientific conclusion. Some people, I know the student now, they put on all the data in ChatGPT and they tell ChatGPT to draw the conclusion for them.
That's a challenge of our profession.
So this should not be allowed, because we are not stopping them from using AI, because everyone using AI, but we need to know when not to use it. And the sensitive part must be also taken extra precaution.
And yet they ask A for problems.
Sorry?
And yet they ask A problems.
Really? So when you say not giving A, what's the response?
Cara dia macam dia tak berani lah kalau
Sebab garang enough.
Sometimes I give them their website address. I found it, that's it.
Is it? Very sarcastic kind of reply lah.
But do we have to educate them?
Yeah, we have to. I agree. And we are not stopping them. We are actually encouraging them to use, but they have to know when and where to use it. Yeah. So I believe I have to spread the awareness that the correct education, especially in the AI world now.
Can you imagine? They will become an academician one day.
Yes.
So that's why I'm quite concerned about this thing.
If from the beginning they sang it already,
Yeah.
how they become a straight academician in future?
Very much so.
Right? They have been shaped in that shape,
Yeah.
which is the incorrect shape. Yeah. And imagine when they become academician one day, they are the educator for the next generation. Yeah. So they must be properly educated. Yeah. And all work should be reviewed and edited carefully because AI can generate authoritative sounding output, and that can be incorrect, incomplete, and biased. That's why I always tell them, after they provide you the answer, please double check with the full text publication. They didn't even want to click the reference and download the full text and read. To read also they didn't want to. Yeah. So I believe AI tool for you to provide the shortcut way to locate the right paper to read. But doesn't mean that you can obviously skip the reading part at all.
At least read abstract here.
Yeah, now instead of reading 10 paper you filter, you're reading 2 paper now to get your answer, just to read the 2 paper at least, right? To read also they say pening, nak muntah.
The old fashion sangat lah.
So they have to know also which ChatGPT tools, which AI tool are trustable. So I tell them to compare the ChatGPT and Scopus AI. Scopus AI provide you the answer based on the publication abstract, published paper, peer-reviewed paper. But ChatGPT tak kisah whatever lah. You feed them whatever they will tell you, and they feed other people. So that are the main differences, right? Because authors are ultimately responsible and accountable for the content of the work. You draw the conclusion, right? Right? You say this would be a potential treatment in future. You bear the responsibility, but you throw that responsibility to AI. How can? Yeah. Because you did the work, you know how it should be concluded, and you cannot ask the AI to conclude for you. AI is the machine, is the robot. So can you use a software to check grammar and spelling error? Of course can, yeah. Even my day-to-day corporate email, to avoid misunderstanding and emotional element inside, I use our internal software to refine my email. Yeah, because sometimes we have emotions. We tend to write something harsh unintentionally during our emotional time. So in order to avoid that, I will use that to refine my language. So same goes to thesis. Sometimes the past tense, present tense, future past, you can use that to improve the credibility, the readability and clarity of the languages. And I believe with the ChatGPT involvement, someone going to lose the job. The proofreader. Last time round we have a lot of proofreader. Yeah, they work with university to charge certain amount of money to proofread your paper. Now I don't think they are relevant anymore.
People publisher also allowed to use the grammar.
Yeah, we allow. You see, this is the Elsevier point of view of using AI. Yeah. So what about reference manager software which might use AI? So like Mendeley, right? You can input whatever that you have read. They can do the referencing arrangement for you. That is also allowable. So when you use AI, what is the best practices? You have to disclose. Yeah? How? So you should disclose in the manuscript that the use of AI or AI assisted tool, and a statement will appear in your published books. This showcase of your honesty. Yeah? You are using it to improve credibility, readability and clarity of the language, but you are not using it for something else. So you are doing it on your good will to disclose it to people and to the peer reviewer. And declaring the use of this technology support transparency and trust between authors, readers, reviewers, editors, and contributors, facilitate compliance with the term of use of the relevant tool and technology. So now, these are the part that you probably can copy. Yeah, how you should declare and how you should disclose. So these are the part. Yeah. During the preparation of the work, author used this particular tool in order to do what? To improve readability, to adjust the contrast of the image, right? Or to improve the language or grammars. And after using these tools and services, the authors reviewed and edited the content as needed to take full responsibility for the content of the publication. I believe this could also apply into the day-to-day academic assignment as well. Yeah, we can't stop them, and we are okay for them to use, but you declare to us, you use it for what? And if you are using it for other purposes outside of your declaration, you should be penalized, right? So these are the part that we want everybody to stay honest when you are using tool for publication. And I believe it is also suitable for day-to-day academic assignment. Yeah. Yep. So what they should not do. Authors should not list AI or AI-assisted technology as an authors or co-authors, or cite AI as an authors. I know this happened in Elsevier paper before, when it first AI launched, yeah, they named the AI as part of the authors. But when it is now a bit more matured in the AI era now, this should not be allowed. They are not the authors. The author should be human, should not be a robot. Sorry? So, Elsevier does not permit the use of generative AI or AI-assisted tool to create or to alter the images in submitted manuscript. This may include enhancing, obscuring, removing, moving, or introducing a specific features within an image or video. Now, the ChatGPT can do many things. Yeah, to improve, to do this, to do that, you just give command. Yeah, these are the things absolutely not allowed. We can.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, the output sometimes doesn't make sense.
You mean the student?
No, the output from the when they try to.
Of course, they are machine. They are not human. They don't have brains. Yeah. Sometimes, even if you put your own pictures to refine by ChatGPT, it's become like robot punya face too refined already. Yeah. So adjustment of brightness, as what I mentioned earlier, to improve the quality of the images is okay. Yeah. But when applicable, authors could be asked to provide pre-AI adjusted version also for the peer reviewer to compare against the raw images and edited images. And the use of Gen AI or AI-assisted tool in the production of artwork, such as the book or commission content, covers, or graphical abstract is not permitted at all. So I hope after this session you have a better understanding level on research integrity, on ethical, as well as on the best practices on AI. Yeah. Thing is still new. We are still observing. Should there be any latest development in the coming years or the coming months, then we should duly update each release accordingly. Yeah. So I think these are all about it for what my sharing of today. Not really a great one, but I hope it helps, especially it upholds the highest level of the research integrity and ethical conduct in research